Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anga Yosi. Thank you so much for pressing play. Okay, let's get into it. So the pros and cons of taking baby to creche. So firstly, the biggest pro is that you have a team of people looking after your baby, not just one person. So it's a team of people depending on the structure and the makeup of the class, your baby's class or your baby's creche, the way they've structured things. But you have more than one person looking after your baby, giving your baby some attention and whatnot. And secondly, is that baby kind of slightly develops quicker on the social side because they're not so scared of a lot of people as compared to a baby who only stays at home with a nanny. And they easily, like, when they see other babies sitting up and crawling, it kind of makes them more aware and encourages their development. So it's got a development advantage to their growing. So that's like the nice really big one, because you really like to have your child reach their milestones at a healthy pace. Yeah, you want your baby to reach their milestone at a healthy pace, and a healthy pace is very different from, it varies from baby to baby. Okay. And thirdly is that it strengthens your baby's immune system if the the creche handles their sick policy well. So how does it strengthen their immune system? Is that they are exposed to a different environment from their home, and that different environment has a different microflora that the teachers have, that the environment they're in have, that other kids also have, and that way exposes them to more bacteria, good and bad. And bacteria is not all bad. It's not all bacteria that can kill you and make you ill. And so you need that exposure, that cocktail of a different balance of microflora. Because if you're home all day, and I know us modern day moms, we are sterile. We want to sterilize everything. Even before COVID, we were sanitizing everything. The bottles, obviously, that is a must. The toys, they drop a toy, you grab that toy, you go and sanitize it, sterilize it. Like, we are so, like, we want to raise our kids in a very sterile environment. I mean, because we're so scared of having them sick, or maybe you've experienced having your baby sick and you don't want your baby to be sick again. Those things, that behavior is warranted for, it's fine. But in the creche setup environment, there is a different set of bacteria that baby's not used to, and that bacteria is everywhere, and it's healthy microflora, and that is fine, you know. So it exposes babies, it challenges baby's immune system to just take in different microflora. Being in a creche greatly contributes in strengthening their immune system, challenging their immune system. Okay. And then the fourth one is that you have trained teachers that are looking after your baby, and some nurseries and creches might have development specialists. So you'll have specialists contributing to baby's overall development depending on where they are. You could take your baby to a creche before they could even sit, and you'll have specialists in the creche doing activities that strengthen their core and strengthen the baby's core, which will lead to them being able to sit, and those things are like tummy time and other activities that I didn't bother to look up because the creche was doing all that for me. Yeah, I think those are the major ones. And I think the biggest one for me is whichever creche you take your baby to, the expense of a creche is constant. It's just flat, as opposed to having a nanny. I've covered the pros and cons of having a nanny in another video. I'm not sure if I've uploaded it or not yet. Compared to a nanny, the cost of a creche and the cost of a creche really depends on you, what you're looking for, what you can afford, and what feels. And so it is cheaper. So a creche is cheaper than a nanny, because a nanny has a set price as per the law. You'll see that in the pros and cons of having a nanny. I covered that in there. I don't know how to link videos yet, so I'm not gonna lie to you and say I'm gonna link that video. I'm not gonna link it. You're just going to have to go to the channel, guys. You're already here, and see if the video is there or not. Yeah, so I think I've covered the pros. The cons, the biggest cons, ne? So this is not from my experience with my child's creche, but it's like a general con that I knew about or heard about from a lot of people who took their babies to creche. Big number one is that baby's always sick. Bacho and yes. So but the biggest number one con is that baby's always sick. And the reason for this is the sick policy. It goes back to the sick policy that's in place or not in place in the creche. That's all I have for you. Cool. Number two is that another one that people complained about, a lot of people that I know personally, a lot of people complained about this, not me though, not me, child, that the teachers are wasting the baby's toiletries. So there's a few items you have to take to school, even whether it's monthly or 2 times a year or weekly or whatever the schedule is. But I know that the biggest con is that baby's toiletries is not used properly. They finish it quickly. It's either they're stealing it. I don't know what the story is, but that is the biggest con, that you end up spending more on toiletries on baby who goes to a creche than you do on a baby who doesn't go to creche. It becomes a very expensive exercise. Yeah, batch. That's the biggest. Another one, number two. Number three is the level of inconvenience of having rush hour, wake up early, get yourself ready, get baby ready, drop baby off, sit in traffic, go to work. That's the one that just grates at me, but it is my reality. Then you get home, you're not dropping baby, you get home, then you have to do all these things by yourself. I can't see who's doing anything for you. It's just you and the baby. You are doing that drop and go rush. Hey, you dropping, you're waking up early after work, you are in traffic. Especially if you're in Gauteng, I say traffic and straight up. And then the other big one is that you don't have someone to help you out with extra chores around the house. You won't get into when and your partner or you have to ask for help for other things, for running errands, cleaning up your house, doing the laundry, still taking care of baby, and still trying to have a social life if possible. So it's that part that social life is compromised. I mean, obviously when you had a child, that was bound to happen, that your social life is going to be compromised. And also, I mean, you've had a child, your priorities definitely have to change. So yeah. The other one is that you can't work late. If you do work late, then you have to make so many arrangements to get someone to pick up baby, or get your partner or get whoever to pick up baby. And like working late and working and staying at the office is just a very admin laden process. Like if you think about working late and you have a child in crèche, then you have to call the crèche and let them know, no, someone is going to come pick the baby up. And depending on the policies in place in your child's crèche, you might have to send a picture. It might have to be someone who you've already listed on their books that this person is authorized to pick up my baby. So yeah, but it means maybe wanting to stop by the shops because the crèche will have a time in which a cut-off time to pick up baby, and once you haven't picked up baby at a certain time, they start charging you fines for every 15 minutes. It might vary from crèche to crèche, but that is my story. They will charge you 50 rand for every 15 minutes late after the set time. So, I mean, they have to do those things, otherwise we'll exploit them, we will inconvenience them, because those people looking after the baby also have families. They also have to travel back home. So, I mean, that is also very understandable. But that is also the other big inconvenience or con of taking your baby to a crèche that you have to think about. The other one is travel time. Like, how long are you on the road? Depending where baby is, like the logistics, it's just a logistical, it's not a nightmare, but it needs you to logistically think about it. Where you drop off baby, if you have meetings, do you have a partner? Are you doing this on your own? It becomes, it needs a lot of logistical planning, so you need to have some logistical muscle to have baby at a crèche. And yeah, I think I've covered the major ones. There are many other in between pros and cons, small ones that I probably haven't covered, and you are watching me and you are thinking about one, please flag a public comment section so that whoever watched this video can have as much value added to them by seeing your comment, including extra pros and cons. Thank you so much for watching this video and taking the time out. I really appreciate it. Please keep well, look after yourselves, mommy, and you are doing great. Camagu.